It is Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, intern Sawyer, along for the ride as well. First of all, I'm wearing another minor league hat. I want to give a shout out to the Atlanta Braves AA affiliate, the Columbus Clingstones, for this little look. They also sent me a sweet peach along with the hair.
Is that a real peach?
I like it. It is not. It is. I'll tell you though, it's dead on. I had it on the counter the other day. One of the boys was like, "Is that a real peach?" I said,
love
"No."
a peach.
I do too. I do too. Are
I
you
like
a
stone fruit.
Are you a totally soft, or do you need it a little?
Oh no! Get the soft out of here. I need some bite on that.
Yeah.
I'm not juicing it. I want to eat it, enjoy it. Give me some texture.
I don't know.
I like all my fruit crisp. Like, there's not one fruit I'm like, give me it soggy.
Well, I wouldn't say soggy. You know what I'm saying, but on the
Peaches can get soggy. That's the one fault of a peach. It can get bruised and gets soggy quickly.
True. You got to be careful with the way you handle them. You can't just throw them in the fridge.
Yeah.
By the way, you keep them cold, don't you?
I do. I like cold fruit as well. But there are some things, you can't put apples in with other stuff because they make everything else ripen around them. So you should keep your apples separate.
Ooh, I love this. Do you work in the grocery store as a high schooler or something?
I do it now as an adult.
Yeah. Always
like I know.
All right. On our social media channels, we'll have a link where you can get this lid. Another awesome one. It's relatively simple, but I like it. Classy. I like the colors as well. It's cool. Tip of the cap to our very own intern Sawyer, who graduated from Syracuse University over the weekend. No way, Sawyer. Look at him.
Wait, what?
What?
Like the real Syracuse, like in New York?
Yes. Wait, what did you think?
Doesn't he live in LA?
Yeah, he does.
How does that work? Is this online?
So the last is Syracuse University online. His last, I forget if it's half semester or whatever, they expect you to go out and work in the real world. So he's been working with us in the real world in order to earn his degree.
I had no idea. I love Syracuse. I've had many a great nights out in Syracuse.
Whoa.
I didn't know that, Sawyer.
Oh, that's right. Where was home base for you?
Well, that was when I was in Rochester, New York.
Yeah.
A little bit of dinosaur barbecue, Sawyer. Okay.
Now you and Sawyer have more to talk about offline.
We do. I've had a lot of fun nights in Syracuse.
Okay. Let's get to it.
Camera.
Let's get to the big news in baseball that actually trickled out Tuesday afternoon. Pete Rose, now eligible for the Hall of Fame. The hit king and shoeless Joe Jackson, among several deceased players and managers, reinstated from MLB's permanent ineligible list. Commissioner Rob Manfred wrote in a letter to Rose's appeal lawyer, quote, "Obviously, a person no longer with us cannot represent a threat to the integrity of the game." What do you think of this?
Honestly, it does nothing for me, and I don't know what that says. Maybe it's my age. Maybe it is what it is. I never really saw Pete Rose play. I mean, I understand the impact he had on the game and what kind of player he was. I don't know. I feel like, and I hate to use this term because everyone uses it, but it is a slippery slope. Like, now a permanent ban can be lifted because you passed away. That doesn't sound permanent to me. It sounds like a lifetime ban. But permanent means permanent. So I don't know, man. I think this was Rob Manfred's way of just kind of like not wanting to deal with it anymore. And now it's up to like the Veterans Committee with the Hall of Fame, because there is public outcry for Pete Rose, which, I don't really understand. I think if you harm the game, you harm the game, man. And the Hall of Fame is meant for, and I know I'm sure there are people that have done some interesting things or bad things in the Hall of Fame. But we shouldn't try to continue that trend. The Hall of Fame should mean you were a stand-up individual that represented baseball as best as possible and had an awesome career. That's what I think of when I think of the Hall of Fame. I'm kind of out on it, to be honest with you. We're gonna reinstate guys that supposedly, or I don't even know really the background story of this, that threw a World Series, and a guy that bet on baseball a ton. Other teams, his team. To me, I'm not super into it.
Right. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope he doesn't get elected. I really do. You've heard my stance on this over the last several years. I put out a clip yesterday that the number one person that kept Pete Rose out of baseball's Hall of Fame was Pete Rose. He had no interest in offering up the truth. 15 years it took him after he got banned for life to admit that he bet on the game. And he only did it when he released a book so he could make some cash. To me, he was more interested in earning the sympathy of a baseball crowd that was going to be suckered by him, that fell in love with the way he played, that understood every game meant so much to him. Every game. I loved him as a player. Felt like Game 7 of the World Series, that he cared more than we did as fans, which we very rarely feel. But that doesn't matter. He turned his back on the game, and then once he got caught, he was like the kid that couldn't stop lying. If the first few years after his ban, he would have gone back to major league offices and said, I screwed up. What can I, and I don't know if this is going to turn things around, but what do I have to do to show you that I do care, that I was the one at the forefront of this issue? He never asked that of Major League Baseball. It was always y'all are screwing me. I'm going to go down the street on induction day and induction weekend and sell my autographs so I can make more money and tell my sob story. Pete Rose is the one that screwed this up, not Major League Baseball.
I can't disagree with anything you said. I totally understand where you're coming from. Again, if we're making this more about the Hall of Fame than the reinstatement, because that's kind of what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
The Hall of Fame to me, like if you get popped for PEDs, I don't think you should ever be in the Hall of Fame. That is my stance, and it probably will never change. I mean, someone's gonna have to really, really change my mind on that one. Because I just want a fair, level playing field, guys that don't break rules in there. And Pete obviously broke the rules. And then, yeah, don't always love to mention the off the field stuff, but there is a lot of other off the field stuff that Pete is a part of.
Well, I want to get to that in a second. A lot of people that are critical of my thinking say, boy, you don't believe in second chances, do you? I absolutely do. But you know who has to be at the forefront of making a second chance work? That person.
Yeah.
And Pete Rose was never interested in it. He really wasn't. He felt like, oh, you know what? Maybe my best path will be to play the role of the heel here. And I'm going to go as hard as I can that direction. He didn't really care about, he might have loved the game, but he didn't love it more than gambling. He might have loved his family, but he didn't love it more than gambling. He loved that. He bet every day, basically, the rest of his life. So, not that that was illegal. He did it legally. But if he wanted to get back into baseball's good graces, he had to show some contrition and show that, I know, I own it. I'm the one that screwed up here. All these people that are defending him, I don't understand it. I don't understand how you run your life, and I don't understand how you expect society to work if when we do screw up, that we're not the ones that are taking ownership of this mess.
I agree. I actually think you have to earn your second chance. That's my take on that as well.
Yes.
You can't just something like here's your second chance. But how much of this has to do with how much sports in general, but baseball specifically, has been leaning into gambling?
It's more than leaning into it. I mean, they are hard into it.
So is that what this is about?
So I think that can be very confusing for people out there, right? How can the business reap the benefits of the gambling world, but you're asking its players? All I can tell you is this. I work for a league-owned network over at the NFL Network. The NFL rakes in a ton of cash from betting sites. It's very clear to us as employees what the rules are. I'm never allowed to bet on a sport. I'm not allowed to walk into a sports book ever when I'm in Las Vegas. If I'm covering the Raiders for something, or the draft, or the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, I can't even sit at a table and play a hand of blackjack, which I'm legally allowed to do as an adult in this country. But those are the rules and stipulations. And if I don't like them, then I don't go work for the NFL. So for people that are like, well, all this stuff is no, there are rules at your place of employment, and he decided to turn his back on them. So yes, does it sound oxymoronic and contradictory? In some cases it is, But this one is very, very simple to me. It's Pete Rose knew the rules back then. And people say, well, he never bet against his team. Folks, when he bet on his team, which he did, he came out and admitted it eventually in a report, he was putting guys' health at risk. He might have pitched guys 3 days in a row when they weren't healthy. Why? Well, I need to really win this game. Is that okay with you? No. It's not.
That's all there is to say.
Okay, I do very quickly want to move on to now the fact that he can go ahead and be in front of the 2027 Classic Baseball Era Committee ballot. He would need 12 of the 16 votes by a 16-member committee, 4 former players, 4 executives, 4 writers, and 4 historians. If you were to bet on it right now, do you think that he would get in?
Oh, man. I'm assuming those veterans are older people. That's what I'm assuming. Ages 50 and above. And I think people with ages 50 and above are more on his side getting into the Hall of Fame than not. So I think he might get into the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying I agree with that. I wouldn't put him in there, but I think he's going to.
Here's the other reason you cannot put him in the Hall of Fame. There is a code of conduct clause. There is. And folks, even if you remove all of the gambling stuff from Pete Rose, he was a despicable human being on so many levels. Just answer this question. Would you be okay with giving the highest honor in a business to somebody who admitted as a 30-year-old that he was having a sexual relationship with a 16-year-old? You answer that question. I know how I would answer it. It ain't okay.
You're asking me? No.
Right. So
I will counter that by saying I guarantee a lot of people in the Hall of Fame have done things just like that.
Trevor,
so that's what people will say.
Right.
My personal opinion is no, I would not.
I don't know how you kick people out of the Hall of Fame, but I'm all for it too. There are disgusting human beings in there. Everything from base to racism, sexism, doing horrible acts. Yes, they're all over the place. So people will argue, well, why are you just picking on Pete Rose? I don't know how to get people out of the Hall of Fame. I'm not arguing to take Pete Rose out. I'm saying don't let him in and have the highest honor. And other
Next
people
episode, you're going to give us your list of people you need out of the Hall of Fame.
Right, that's for an off-season show. There is a lot for people to dig in here.
It's a big topic, Chris, and I think a lot of people really have strong opinions on Pete Rose, and some people are never going to be swayed one way or the other. And not that I'm really trying to do that with my take. I'm just kind of telling you how I feel.
Yeah. And by the way, for people who are like, well, those stories about Rose and the girl were never proven. Yes, they were. Yeah, Pete Rose filed a defamation lawsuit against former federal prosecutor John Dowd that he had a sexual relationship with a girl before she was 16. Rose said in court documents that he thought she was 16, which was the age of consent. So don't give me this. Well, what was it? These are proven statements, things he admitted to. So please, if you're going to come and try and defend him, don't just grab stuff out of the air. Find real stuff, put it in the comments, let us know your thoughts, because it is a polarizing thing. Yes. By the way, his stuff's in the Hall of Fame. And I don't know. Really gets my blood boiling.
You are passionate about this.
I am, in part because he was one of my favorite players.
Yeah,
dude.
You saw him play. Like, I don't have any connection to Pete Rose whatsoever, other than the numbers I know.
I loved Pete Rose. Yes, I have a brother named Pete Rose, and so I loved him.
Is he getting like hated or loved on social media? Does he have Pete Rose like the names?
Yeah, I have to ask him today. I got to call him and see how he's doing.
A lot of congratulations.
Hey, I don't know if I told you this, but my brother, very bright guy, went to Yale. He was applying for a job at Major League Baseball the summer that Pete Rose got banned. So they're probably looking at this resume. It says Pete Rose. They're like, we're good.
You went to Yale?
Yeah, he's the smart one. I got the cool jobs.
Where'd you go? Reno?
Miami University.
University of Miami, Ohio.
No, Miami University. I always say Miami was a university
Okay.
before Florida was a state, established 1809.
Whatever.
Thank you.
You win.
Let's get to it now. As for the games on the field, Javy Baez continues to crank up the hits in Motown.
First one in the air, deep left field, again! Yes, Tigers win! Javy is unstoppable!
You know, I am so happy for that guy. I don't know if he's going to tell you how important it is to him. I don't know if he's going to tell you how much it means to him, but I know it does. And our whole team explodes, not just because we win, and not just how we win, but the fact that Javy's right in the middle of it is so awesome for this team and for Javy himself.
That, of course, is Tiger skipper A.J. Hinch. We have talked a lot over the last 7 to 10 days about his reemergence. Are you more surprised that Baez has bounced back the way that he has, or that his play reached the depths that it did the previous 3 years?
It's honestly a really good question. I think I'm a little bit more surprised at kind of like what he's doing this year after seeing since 2022, since he's been in Detroit, it just hasn't been good for him. And like part of me thinks, is that because Detroit was just like a bad team for the first couple of years and he got unmotivated, he got a ton of money. And so he's like, hey, I'm good. And then, hey, my team kind of stinks. Like I can see how that could unmotivate you. I don't have to put up numbers. I already got paid. Even if I put up numbers, my team isn't very good. Here's the thing. The Tigers got good last year, and Javy was not a part of it. That will motivate you. So I think that motivation is kind of that winning from the other guys, because it wasn't Javy last year, that has motivated him to come back and be the player that he's been. And I think how about this? I think that he's going down like that has been maybe the best thing for his career. Having to change positions, having some rookie come and essentially steal your spot from you, and you get banished to the outfield. That'll make you think about things. That'll make you dig deep down into your soul. I'm curious to see if it continues. If you look at like the baseball savant, it's not pretty, but if you look at the Jumbotron, it's really pretty, dude. And is he going to stay in center field? Like, I don't think so. I think he actually might make his way back to third base. Like, say, like Vierling comes back or Meadows. I think he might go back to third base. I don't know what that means for Jace Young, but it's been a lot of fun to watch, man. And I really do think the motivation factor was a big part of it. So if the Tigers are going to be this team, and I just did a power rankings episode with Jake, I have the Tigers as the best team in the American League. If the Tigers are going to be the best team in the American League, okay, I think Javy Baez will be motivated enough that we're going to never see him go down to those depths that we saw him in 2022 and 2023.
And 2024, where he was a negative.
And 2024, excuse me, yes.
I think I'm more surprised that he has come back. I thought he was a lost cause, and I told you this. I covered the Dodgers-Tigers opening weekend series, and I walked into the visiting clubhouse, and I was like, oh, my God, Javy Baez is still on the team. He was so far out of thought that last year when he was unproductive and injured and Sweeney took over at shortstop, I thought that they were going to release him. And I wonder if Parker Meadows and Matt Vierling had been healthy going into the year, do you think he was a lock to make the team?
I do. He's still making so much money that like teams consider that a lot.
I know, but that's a sunk cost, meaning that's already paid for. We saw them earlier this year, a few weeks ago, DFA Kenta Maeda. We're not talking about the same amount of money, but sunk cost is sunk cost. So
but you're talking about $75 million.
I know, but if he's eating up a roster spot and you knew you were a good team at the conclusion of last year, and you thought, well, there's no way in hell he's going to give us anything. There's no way you could have asked anybody in this organization, said, what do you expect out of Javier Baez? And they would have given the answer that we're getting on May 14th.
I just know that teams hate to do that. Number one, it's admitting that you fucked up and gave a really bad contract. Number two, you hate that kind of dead money.
Right.
And worst case scenario, you have him on the bench and you try to figure out some sort of role for him. I don't think he was ever out unless they found someone that would, and I don't know who would have taken him on. Probably no one would take him on. I don't think he was ever in danger of getting released. Not with $75 million left.
Yeah, I think the fear was we release him and then somebody else picks him up for the league minimum. We have to pay the rest of his salary and somewhere else he finds it. And that could be the worst story of all. I do think it's something to think about. But I am shocked that he has come all the way back. He had an 886 OPS with the Mets. Remember when he got traded there for Pete Crow Armstrong? He was there for 2 months, performed brilliantly, ended up getting a $140 million deal. His next 3 years of an OPS, 671, 583, 516. That's horrible. I couldn't come up with a guy over the last 25 years who had totally disappeared over 2 or 3 years and then come back to this. Cody Bellinger had a little bit of that from his MVP year down to whatever happened, but then he started to kind of crawl back to at least some league average numbers. Javy Baez was so far in the depths of this, you couldn't find him on a stat sheet.
I'm going to go and I got to look it up real quick because I have one in my mind that could answer your question. And I think he just announced his retirement.
Matt Carpenter? Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to see if he got that low.
How many
640 OPS with the Cardinals in 2020, which we give people leeway in 2020. Who cares? Forget that year ever happened. 2021, though, 581 in 130 games.
Okay.
And then the next year with the Yankees, 47 games, 1.1.
Right. So that's really like one horrible year. There was one bad year, the 2020 abbreviated season, and then one horrible year, not 3.
And then he took that Yankees deal, Yankees year. Let's see how much he earned off that. I'm talking
Matt Carpenter. San Diego, right?
He went to San Diego and where else? And ended with the Padres. So I think he turned that into a 2-year 12 with the Padres. And then got traded to the Rangers.
Rangers, yeah. Okay, for a second. I don't know. You all got to help us out in the comments section. Give us a person who is on a Javier Baez trajectory, good and then horrible, and then has bounced back, and we'll see if it continues. It's been 2 amazing months, not even, but really cool story. Yeah.
Sorry, the transaction page is for Matt Carpenter is very strange. Signed as a free agent with the Rangers in 2022, was released in May, then signed with the Yankees. That's when he got crazy. Right. So then he signed as a free agent with the Padres. In 2023, he got traded to the Braves. And then he signed a deal with the Cardinals last year. I don't know.
That's where it finished.
Yeah.
That's where it finished. He and Jake Arrieta, I believe, were teammates at TCU.
TCU. Go Horns. Horn Frogs.
Horn Frogs. All right, today's episode sponsored by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Life's a trip, so why not make the most of it? With over 4,000 hotels worldwide, Best Western's there for every detour, destination, and unexpected twist and turn along the way. Whether you're hitting the road, traveling for work, or chasing the next big game, there's a room waiting for you. But a great stay isn't just about rest. It's about what comes next. Great stay doesn't just help you recharge. It sets the tone for the early wake up, late night arrival, or the last minute change of plans. Best Western gets it. Traveling isn't one size fits all. It's for the planners and the procrastinators, the loyalty point collectors, and the I just booked it crowd. So whether you're traveling solo, with your friends, or with your entire roster, Best Western has got you covered. So pack your bag, cue up the playlist, hit the road. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at bestwestern.com. And I know our crew has been enjoying trips. They did it through Chicago on the day they had to drive cross country and stay at a Best Western. They knocked it out of the park. I know that Jack Doyle and Zoe have been doing this sort of stuff as well. So go live it. I love that. I love the line that it's for planners and procrastinators because that covers us all.
It does. It does.
Yeah. All right, Padres. They got their first walk-off win of the year, and it came courtesy of you-know-who.
In the air to deep left center field. It's back. It is gone. Fernando walks it off. Deep into the San Diego night.
My gosh. Don's going to pop a blood vessel at
It
some point.
sounds like it every time he calls a home run.
I was shocked. That is his first walk-off homer.
That is shocking. I feel like we've seen a lot of, I guess, just a lot of go-ahead homers. I know he's had other walk-offs in his career, but first walk-off homer. Congrats, bro. Welcome to the club.
Only his third walk-off hit. He didn't get any until last year. So he's kind of getting it going. I love the pose. He just stood there for 5 seconds? You didn't like that?
That's a sweet spot for Kenley right there, man. That little middle in up right there. You got to pull it. Pulled his hands in perfectly. This was interesting because they've been talking about Tatis changing his not his stance, but his leg kick essentially. For a while it was big leg kick, and then he went down to he was just kind of toe tapping or keeping it near the ground. This one was like a mixture of both. Watch, he gets it up there, and then he gets the tap. He's kind of he's still finding his way at the plate, which is crazy because he's raking.
So I'm going to break one of my own rules. I hate discussing MVP stuff until the second half of the year, but I want to try this one on for size. Let's say that Shohei continues to swing it the way he's been swinging it and run on the bases the way he runs, and then comes back and pitches in the second half and doesn't suck. What does Fernando Tatis Jr. have to do in order to pry the MVP away from Shohei?
It's so hard to say, Chris. I mean, you're talking about what does doesn't suck mean for Shohei?
Let's say he's got
5.
Yeah. I mean, that's
pretty good.
That's plenty good for a guy who hasn't pitched in a year and a half, 2 years.
You know my stance on this. I think Shohei is he one dotting it. He's dang close if he's not. He's one dotting it right now. So if you're talking about, one of the best hitters in all of baseball, and the guy gets on the bump and will give you a 3.5 as a starter, he's my MVP. And it's not going to change. And I don't care what anybody else does on the field. I guess Fernando would have to break the all-time home run record for me to change my stance.
Wow.
I'm just really firmly in it. Okay. That's just how I am, because if you're doing both, it is just so much more valuable. And it's better than anything anybody else is going to do on the baseball field. So he'd have to do something crazy for me not to want to give Shohei the MVP. And you can fault me for that. And I'm going to point right back at you and say, you just have Shohei fatigue. If this was Shohei's first year in the big leagues and he one dotted it, and even if he threw just half a year, but it was to a 3.5 clip and he started 15 games or even to say 10 games and was that kind of pitcher, you would give him the MVP. It's the fact that we've had Shohei now for this long. He's won how many MVPs? 3?
3.
It's your fault, not my fault.
What if the Padres win the division? They're only a half game back of the Dodgers, and Shohei still does all that stuff. Let's say San Diego pulls off the shocking.
I won't ever get past what he's doing. It's better than anybody's ever done in all of baseball.
Yeah. I can't disagree with you. I can't, and I won't, because I also know how, and maybe I'm more heavily swayed the other direction because I'm so thankful that we're alive to see this era. I mean, how many ghosts do we talk about in this sport? Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Christy Mathewson, Walter Johnson, guys who seem like larger than life that nobody saw play. And we are so blessed to have this. And so I want to be able to feel a part of that story. And I can't tell you that if I, had a National League MVP vote, that I wouldn't be swayed that direction. I'm a human being too, a little bit. So I don't know. It's interesting. Real interesting.
Look, the one time Shohei didn't win MVP since 2021, it was when Aaron Judge hit all those homers, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's what has to happen.
Well, here's the thing about Tatis. He leads the National League in WAR, I believe. I might have checked those late last night. Second in batting, only Manny Machado has a better average, I think. Almost 400 on base. He's great defensively, metrically. He's a stud out there. You can also tell it with your eyes. There's a lot going for him.
That is the one thing people come back and say I agree with is that Ohtani doesn't play defense. So he's not a true like all-around player, but I think that being a starting pitcher and doing it the way he's done it is more valuable than a guy that can play outfield defense.
Wouldn't you just love one time to see Shohei try and nail a guy at the plate from right field?
How many times we see him play the outfield, the Angels?
He played a handful of times. It was pre-Ohtani DH rules where, now he leaves the game and he stays in as the DH.
Yeah.
But back then,
when
he first started doing it, they'd have to keep him on the field.
Very smart for them to put in that rule, by the way.
Oh, heck yeah.
Keep this guy healthy. He is and look, I say this I don't mean this is a bad thing. He's a cash cow for Major League Baseball.
Of course he is.
Can't let that guy get hurt.
Of course he is. Let us know. What do you got, people? This is good stuff for our comments today. I know. People
are going to hate on my take, but I just can't Ohtani to me is just different.
8 1/3 career innings in the outfield. Who threw that up there? Is that Sawyer or Dan?
I'm looking right now, even the offensive stats. Shohei Ohtani has a 192 OPS plus. Fernando Tatis, not too shabby himself, at a 170.
Right.
Shohei also has him in everything.
Yeah, everything except batting average, I think.
Shohei's in 302 to Tatis is 316. I mean, Shohei's been the better hitter too. Don't hate on Shohei, guys.
No, I don't think people are.
They do. Because he's a Dodger.
Yeah.
Dan Rourke's like, what about Aaron Judge? You guys didn't even talk about him. Different league, bro.
Different league. We've talked a lot about Aaron Judge. All right, let's keep going here again. All right, we had some really, really cool home run moments last night at Dodger Stadium. A's take the opener of that series. 11-1 was the final. Jacob Wilson, happy homecoming for that kid. Not one, but 2 home runs. It's pretty neat. Welcome back to Los Angeles, kid. Dalton Varsho hit one that I think is still going. It was in a crushing loss at home to the Tampa Bay Rays. They said this one went 404 feet. Calling BS on
how
that.
Far?
404. That's a lie. That went in the 5th deck. Whatever.
I've never seen a ball hit up there. Into left field, I feel like I've seen Donaldson and Bautista go way up top. Let me just look at the metrics on that homer, because I thought.
Hold on. I got one more to get to before
okay.
Jung-Ho Lee continues his great season. He's slid a little bit, but he hit a home run, a low liner, just getting over that wall in right field on Korean Heritage Night. So it was awesome to see all of his hooligans. There they are, celebrating the evening. That's my favorite fan base. It's excellent. Which of those 3 was the coolest home run moment for you? Are you done? Do you have your metrics?
424, Dalton Varsho, 113.6 off the bat, 32-degree launch. And go.
How did I see? I saw 404. Must have been early. They must have recalculated it.
I'm gonna go Jacob Wilson. Shout out Jung-Ho and the Hoolie Gang out there. But coming home to your home ballpark and having the rookie season that he's having, he's got a 906 OPS, 2 homers there. Of course, the first one was on the first pitch. Second one was actually 3-1. He wasn't going to walk, so he took a hack at that. It's just really impressive to watch. And the A's in general have been super impressive to me. I'm going, actually, you and I are both going down to the stadium today to see them take on the Dodgers again. I don't know. There's something about going home to your home ballpark and hitting homers, man. It's fun. That's awesome.
There was one other one in the Giants game. Christian Koss, he grew up a Giants fan. Hit his first show homer, a grand slam.
That was a grand slam, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a pretty neat one.
And didn't they walk someone in front of Jung-Ho Lee?
They might have. I was just kind of all over the place at that time last night.
That's also awesome. When they intentionally walk someone to get to you and you hit a homer, badass.
Can I get back to the Varsho thing? So I saw 404. That's my fault. You saw 420. How is this 424 feet? Do they just stop counting when it hits the fifth deck?
I don't know how they measure. I've never understood. That's an absolute bomb. But I will say this. I mean, Toronto's one of the places that you would say going in, you have to hit a homer here or else it's a failed series.
Really? It's
And
that good? That's that good?
I know the
ballpark?
humidor has changed things a little bit.
Hmm.
But that place, man, that is good hitting. You can see the ball so well there. The controlled environment, I used to love hitting there.
Would you like to have hit that homer that Varsho hit, but it has to come in a losing effort? Would you still take it?
Oh, fuck yeah. What do you mean? You're going to lose games, Chris. Like, you're going to lose some games. Let me get that was a bomb.
That was a bomb.
It's two homers, right? Second homer of the night.
Canseco hit one in the playoffs there. I want to say maybe it was 1990, something like that. He hit one. There was a great camera angle. I want to say it was on NBC, low level behind the plate, and it just shows it going. Oh, it's beautiful. Thing of beauty. That's
they intentionally walk Elliot Ramos right before Jung Hoo came up in homer to make it 10-4. The bullpen for the Diamondbacks still a problem.
Yeah. All right, this show, it is sponsored to you by BetterHelp. Mental health awareness, it is growing, but there's still progress to be made. 26% of Americans who participated in a recent survey say they have avoided seeking mental health support due to fear of judgment. When people hesitate to get help, it doesn't just affect them. It impacts families, workplaces, entire communities as well. BetterHelp has over 10 years of experience matching people with the right therapist from their diverse network of more than 30,000 licensed therapists with a wide range of specialties. So this is Mental Health Awareness Month. Let's encourage everybody to take care of their well-being, break the stigma. The world is better when people are happy and healthy. We're all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/baseball today. You're going to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/baseball today. Okay, there we go. There's the Jose Canseco home run.
Okay.
Is that off of Jimmy Key? Might have been. Look at where that one goes.
I mean, I'm a better power hitter than Jose Canseco.
No, that's not Jimmy Key. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Jimmy Key was 22. That was 46. That is incredible.
I'm looking at my career stats in Toronto.
And?
Hold on, bro.
Oh, sorry.
What is that stadium called? Rogers Center. Ooh, 872 career OPS with a 582 slug, 5 homers.
Wow. For goodness sakes. The wrong team made the trade.
I should have been in the AL East because I raked all those whack teams. Central is too tough.
All right, 2 other quick things before we get out of here. Before that, Dodger Athletics, LA made 2 announcements. Roki on the injured list, shoulder impingement. Meanwhile, future Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw will make his season debut this weekend against the Halos. Which of those 2 is bigger news?
I mean, it's the Roki news, right? Like they've dealt with so many injuries already, and it's crazy because you look at the Dodgers, and again, I think I've said this before on the show. They haven't played their best baseball. I think they're half game back with their best record in all of baseball. Blake Snell's on the IL. Tyler Glasnow's on the IL. Shohei's not going to pitch till after the All-Star break now. Now Sasaki's on the IL. Like I'm curious to see what happens over the next 30 days. They could just run off and be the best team in baseball like they have been, pretty much all year. Or we could see this could be the start of maybe a Dodger 15-15 next 30. I mean, look, I'm curious, what is Kershaw going to look like? I know Tony Gonsolin's look pretty damn good. Is Landon Knack going to be a reliable starter for them? Dustin May looks good. I get they still have guys, but these aren't the guys they were supposed to necessarily rely on. They thought they might have to use these guys from here and there, but we're really testing the depth. And it kind of seems like we've done that every single year with them. I don't know. I just think it's a big deal. That all these injuries, they seem to consistently find the Dodgers, and they do game plan for them because that depth is better than a lot of teams. Look at the Baltimore Orioles, what they've had to deal with. But I think, another person on the IL is the bigger deal.
14 pitchers, and that doesn't even include Shohei, who isn't pitching but is playing baseball. Miguel Rojas has been on the mound more times for the Dodgers this year than Blake Snell. That's a problem. That is a real issue. Snell is still getting, I guess he was going to the doctor yesterday to get it checked out. Glasnow did get checked out and is going to try and start a throwing program. So, yeah, the answer here is Roki, in part because of Dave Roberts' quote about him. Well, first of all, here's some numbers. 1-1, 4.72 ERA and 8 starts. Only 24 strikeouts in more than 34 innings. Opponents are hitting 225, which, whatever, that's fine. Here's what Roberts said. There's a lot of kinds of things that we're trying to suss out right now with Roki. To me, that means part of it's physical and part of it is mental, I think, if I'm reading between the lines properly.
I think his fast. I think he needs to get his fastball. You need to change the shape on it or locate it better because that's been the problem.
Yeah, and we do forget, as highly decorated as he is, he's only 23 years old, right? We try to make this point that he's coming to a new country, a new culture, a new way of life. All of those can have an impact on him and how he's dealing with things, not just his physical well-being. We'll see how that all goes.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how the Dodgers go. Now I'm going to go schedule watch for them.
Oh boy,
let's just see where we're at, Chris.
They haven't played the Padres yet. I think they get them in mid-June. Looking forward to that.
Okay, so they have the A's wrapping up that series, then the Angels. That's the Freeway Series this weekend, and then it starts to step up for them. You get Arizona at home, then you go to the Mets, you go to Cleveland, which fucking Cleveland, dude, 6th best record in baseball or something. It's ridiculous. Then it's the Yankees, then it's the Mets, then it's the Cardinals, then it's okay.
On.
I'm curious where they stand on June 19th.
Okay. We'll check in June 19th.
That's after they play the Padres.
Let's end this on a cute note because we had a little combustible there in the beginning. Mookie Betts' son Kaj wins the cutest kid award for throwing out the first pitch on his daddy's bobblehead night. He takes the ball, he starts running to right field.
Yeah, he's like, "That's right, Dad. You used to play there, right?"
Yeah. Go get him. Go get him. Wait.
That is so good.
And here comes Mama to scoop him up. Let's go. No. You got to go and you got to throw the. Yes. Way to go, Kaj. Love that.
I miss those days, man. Mookie, don't blink, playa.
Yeah, that is adorable. I love every second of that. And then Justin Turner, it's been a slow start for him, but he gets a 2-run double to walk off the Marlins. And then he and PCA are celebrating with JT's little son, Bo.
I mean, that's a bond those three share. We know what the bond is. 3 redheads all together. Like, that's pretty awesome right there.
I asked PCA when I saw him, I said, you've met Turner's kid. He goes, yeah, I think I'm the only person that's more pale than his dad that he's actually met.
Do you think the son's like, you look kind of like my dad?
Oh, no. Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
No, I don't mean it like that. Relax, dude. What the freak?
Oh, man. All right. Once again, I'll leave the notes on this hat from Columbus, the Klingstones. Check our social media channels for a link. Go get your minor league hat collection. Up it a little bit. What do we got here?
That's just a
Oh, yes.
See, look at that.
Mookie. It always looks like every ball in left center is crushed, and it only gets out 3 rows. Why is that?
Brett Cecil, don't put it there, Brett. Don't leave it there.
Brett Cecil.
So for our podcast listeners, we're showing me Pump One in Toronto. That looks like 2013.
Eddie Escobar, and is that Parnell that's on deck?
Parmalee.
Oh, that's Parmalee. Okay.
Look at that follow through.
Woo! Plouffe. You missed
Glory days, baby. Glory days.
All right, if you're at Dodger Stadium and you see us, please say hi. It'll be like seeing Sasquatch if you see Plouffe. Like, there he is. Make sure you bother him, buy him a beer. Tell me you love him.
Are you going to stay for the game at all?
No. I got work to do.
Just hang with me for a little bit.
Yeah, probably not.
You got to schmooze some people.
Yeah, but do you have an extra ticket?
Lucas O'Brien got me my ticket.
I appreciate you guys inviting me, by the way. Thank you. It's nice that the company sends somebody out.
He needs me to charm some folks. I'm going to go do that.
Hey, listen, I'm a charmer.
You are a charmer.
God damn. All right. We're going to do this again on Thursday, I suppose. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome graduated intern from Syracuse University, Sawyer, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Thursday here on Baseball Today.